Arganissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more, bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today at www.arganissima.com. Arganissima, New York. Your beauty is our duty.
Hello, Robert. How are you?
Hey there. How's it going? A little early.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I was actually just playing some beats and waiting for you.
Right on, man. How you been?
Been good. Been good. Busy is good.
Excellent. That's good to hear.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I don't know if you noticed, I took a special background for the day. So
Calm.
Yeah. Well, today's going to be a unique show, so I wanted something that can potentially work for it. So how you been otherwise?
I've been great. Just keeping busy. It's all the same. Helping people out, teaching people the usual.
Well, listen, I mean, that's good. Helping people is always a great thing, right? I mean, I believe in that. That's why we do this. And, it's, there's a lot of need out there, and there's so much we can do. And I don't think everybody's doing enough. And so the more, the better.
That's kind of what I'm out there telling people is go out there and try to just be a little bit better. Be nice to a little more people. Just do something, contribute to the good. Don't contribute to the negative. And as long as everyone strives to do that, we'll improve everything.
Well, listen, that is the bottom line, and that is exactly where we are. I think. Listen, I mean, there's so many folks out there today that are trying to do just that, and there's, I think, millions of people that can use advice here and there. So I think what we do is a great thing, and people actually are the judges of that. But we believe in what we do. We're passionate about it. That's all that matters.
Exactly.
So, Robert, I was going to ask you, and I know we've talked about the other stuff. So you're booking with Scott, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys connected, so that's good.
Yeah. I talked to him. Still waiting for him to reach back out to me about actually running a program, but I've got everything set up, ready to go. It'd be a lot of fun.
Well, he's building the January schedule, so we'll see how that plays.
Oh, awesome.
And then also I'm building my other piece to see if we can get a class together. So
I mean, now's a weird time of year, as anyone knows, to schedule anything at all or to get anything started. It's December, it's the end of the year, it's the holiday season. Nothing's gonna happen till January. That's kind of how it is.
It is. I mean, everybody's in holidays and vacation mode, so but it's okay. Listen, I kind of love the end of December. It's a cool time.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, first of all, thank you for coming back and for the opportunity. I know we had that discussion, and today I'm putting myself under the gun. People will be like, "What the hell are you talking about, folks?" Today we're bringing Robert Parker back to do something special, and that special thing is, I guess, putting me under hypnosis live for one particular reason, is to not only me and anybody watching probably would be actually under the same if they will choose to be participating, but the idea is we want to build confidence and positivity to the power of the hypnosis, and that's today's item. I mean, first of all, Robert can do a lot of things with hypnosis. He can really convert your brains, and we discussed this in the last show. It's really your subconscious and working it and giving you the right suggestions to be, really positive minded. And you said it, Robert. You are a true living example of how you converted your life through this.
Exactly.
So we want to be you.
Oh God.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Everybody's different,
Yeah.
but we want to be you with that mindset where you switch, and everything is positive, and that's exactly what it is. One of my main things is positivity, and I just had a show last night, and we talked about that. The power of the words, talking to yourself positive, keeping that affirmation, all that good stuff. So that's what we're going to be doing. And
Exactly.
I know, I talked to people. I said, I'm going to do this live, and I'm going to go under this, and they're like, you're sure about that? I was like, yeah, I did the homework. We had a full show. He explained it nicely. I don't think there's anything scary. I'm not that bad person, so I'm not gonna do anything bad.
I mean, there's nothing to really do. And like you said, anyone listening, you're welcome to follow along with the things that I say. Just follow along with my instructions, and it will work for you just as well. All that's required is the sound of my voice. And one of the things that I like to reinforce is all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. I'm not doing anything. I don't have some special power that I'm giving you momentarily. My job, any hypnotist job, is a guide to be able to know the roadmap of the mind, to know how to at command put someone into trance. And again, for anyone that's listening right now that didn't catch the previous show, hypnosis isn't what you see in the movies. It's not swinging watches and mind control. It's quite different than that. Hypnosis is, if anything, gaining control over your own mind. And oftentimes, whenever somebody hears a hypnotic induction or a session, one of the first things they say is, that sounds like guided meditation. And there's a reason for that, because it pretty much is. Meditation, hypnosis, deep prayer, all of them are theta states of the mind. Our mind's broken up into different wave patterns. Alpha is relaxation, beta is high attention, and delta is sleep. And theta is a weird one because it exists in those relaxed states. And the theory is that's our learning state. That's when we are able to address our thoughts and behaviors and things like that and make tangible change. And it's not, you don't space out and cluck like a chicken or anything like that. It's similar. People always mention that. Everyone's been in hypnosis. This is a natural part of what your brain does. 30 minutes before you go to sleep and 30 minutes after you wake up, you're in hypnosis. It is not sleep, but it's of sleep. It's, if you've ever laid there in the morning, whenever you first wake up and you don't have anywhere to be and you're just relaxed and kind of floating there, that's trance. That's the state that I work with. And there's varying levels of it and such. For our purposes today, I'm not going to be putting you in any type of somnambulistic trance. That's something that you have to work towards. Hypnosis is generally, it could be considered a skill, not on my part, but on the part of someone being hypnotized. One of my clients made this observation today, that it feels like every time we have a session, I go deeper. And you do, because you're learning how to return to that state. You are getting the subconscious trust with my voice, the association with my voice. And each time go a little deeper, you go a little further. And that's kind of the fun of undergoing hypnotherapy, is it's always got a little something else more interesting to show you. So
well, thanks, Robert. Thanks for that particular intro. I mean, that was good. And I was going to ask just to ease people's minds, but I do want to say, last show, about 4 weeks ago, we had a full session about discussion about what hypnotherapy is and all that. And we kind of busted all the myths about it. And we talked about what's wrong in the movies and really what happens really in hypnosis. And so I took it upon myself to do this because I want to actually bring this back to people that, watch me. I'm going to do it. And it's live. People are going to watch it and you're going to see it. And now when I go under, I am under control of my personality.
Well, you're totally aware during hypnosis. That's one of the things people say that they're surprised by. They're like, well, I I knew what was going on. I could still think and such. And I was like, well, if you couldn't, you'd be asleep. Like, that's the thing. People expect that there's like that hypnosis is the zombie state, and it's not. Your mind remains very active during those times. Depending on the person, me being that person, your thoughts go everywhere. They're still going 100 miles an hour because that's your conscious thoughts. That's not what we're dealing with. Your conscious mind is going to be what it is. It's if you think a mile a minute, you're going to think a mile a minute under hypnosis. But that doesn't change how effective it is, because again, we're not talking to the conscious mind. The conscious mind can think whatever thoughts it wants to think, but we are focusing on what is the vast majority of your mind. Your conscious mind, what you are conscious and aware of, is only like 15% of what you actually have in your head. So your subconscious is this vast, generally untapped resource that's capable of so much. Like, if you want to talk about goal setting, if you want to talk about overcoming things, if you want to talk about anything, really, because like I tell my clients jokingly, it's all in your head, because everything, reality, sense of self, everything is only for you in your head. Then there's no other way it could be. You can never be anything but yourself. Everything you believe and think and feel is up here, and you can change that. You can make that whatever you want to be. And if you choose to stay in a dark place and only see dark things, that in itself is a form of hypnosis. You're just choosing to focus not on positive, not on healthy behavior and healthy situations. These same principles that I talk about for positive change, you can use them for the negative as well, because we can start talking about negative associations and negative behaviors and all of these things, and they're all caused by the same system, by the same thing. It's because again, it's all in your head.
Well, I believe in that. Not only
yeah.
just in terms of subconscious and stuff, but even beyond that, right? I mean, I think I don't know if I mentioned it to you, but there is this book that I enjoyed, it's called the Matter the Other Real. I think the other it was, I forget the name now. It's just escaping me, but it's the other Matter, the other name for illusion. And basically the book is discussing the concept that everything we see, everything we experience is a manifestation to what our, like the ghost in the machine, as I refer to, or the soul, or whatever spiritual being is actually experiencing through this avatar that we call body. And therefore it's all in the subconscious and beyond that. And when I read that, and scientifically, it breaks it down to real physics and things, and you do realize, I mean, everything we experience through our senses, and that's really what it is. I mean, if you close your eyes, you don't breathe, you close your ears, and you have anesthesia is essentially almost that, right? I mean, you're pretty much, and you can be there are techniques where you can be aware, but literally. And
there's hypnoanesthesia. You can use hypnosis for anesthesia.
And you can experience everything without any movement, and therefore you almost like experience it. And if the best example, now we're talking about meta, right? Meta, world and meta space and virtual reality. And when you put that visor on, you experience a new world, and whatever those illustrations that you see that they
reality.
Actually project to you is becoming your reality, and whatever you hear is what they want you to hear, whatever you experience. And they even have these gloves that you can feel things with, and you do a 4D experience. It gives you like almost the same thing. I don't know if anyone, or probably a lot of people, may have done an IMAX theater, for example, or with a 3D experience. Forget about it. I mean, you really feel like you're moving in that space, and that's really what it is. So when I read that book, it opened up my realm to a whole different
you mentioned virtual reality, and like I want a VR headset so bad, but I'm nervous because there is a problem with the mind-body connection in virtual reality, where the mind will sense movement because of the visual input, but the body knows it's not moving, and that just makes you violently ill because you have this disconnect. And apparently it's something you can learn. It's something you can adjust to, but that's a lot of that that perception. It really speaks to what we think is real. And one of the things I had mentioned before is your subconscious can't tell the difference between fact and fiction. That's part of why hypnosis works. It's the reason why if you see a movie and you get sad, why'd you get sad? You know you're watching a dramatization. You know you're watching a lie. So why the real emotion? Because your subconscious, which thinks in emotion, it thinks in symbols, thinks that actually happened. And that's why it's so important with visualization, with thought, that you go somewhere positive. Like if many people are prone to daydreaming and fantasy, make that positive, because your subconscious is taking those fantasies seriously. And if you're sitting there catastrophizing failure or negative things happening to you, it is in its own way like you are actually forcing yourself to experience that. So if your brain has this capacity to feel those imagined things so acutely, you should probably make them positive, and you should probably make sure that you're not putting your mindset into this dark place.
Well, Robert, it is. You're really well. There's a couple of things I wanted just to tackle. One is what you just mentioned now about the mind, right? Like, what you put in there. And again, you say the same words to yourself, and you can literally choose where you want to be. I mean, it's a mindset, as we call it, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to just go back to the item that you talked about, the visor, or like the virtual. Actually, I do have one.
Nice.
And I tested it. And believe it or not, I mean, anyone who has experienced it, and at least the new ones are like very advanced. And, you really, I mean, you set your boundaries, and you literally walk around the same boundaries, and you can do all the emotional stuff. I mean, the only thing you don't feel is the impact, unless you hit a wall.
Oh yeah.
But literally, I for example, there's this game which is like a boxing thing. So you're actually in the ring with another character, and the avatar is actually coming up to you, and you're really like going at it, right?
You're really reacting.
You're reacting to it, and then when the guy punches, literally, I find myself like ducking and going crazy and feeling that whole motion. But it feels real. To your point, if you add to it sensors where the body is actually now feeling every single impact, that's when it becomes literally mind-boggling, because then now you don't know what's real, what's not.
Exactly.
And that could happen with technology over time.
Well, they've already tried their haptic vests a few times, and they just they're not that interesting when you're just sitting there at a computer. But if you're talking about you're actually standing up trying to do a thing, that's when haptic feedback becomes interesting. And personally, I'm very excited about this concept of a digital reality, because I see in it a way to maybe do my own job a little better, or have a new avenue to be able to do my work, because I can work in VR just as effectively as I can work with this, as I can work in person, as I can work over the phone. So long as you can hear my voice, I can work.
Well,
Go ahead.
Sorry. No, please.
Well, with virtual reality, especially, you can start talking about like crafted experiences and things like that. Now we can talk about actually open your eyes during hypnosis and be able to experience these things, because the closed eyes have nothing to do with trance. The closed eyes are simply to maintain a visualization and perception. If I can maintain that visualization and perception through electronic means, that's just as well. You're just as tranced watching a movie as you are in a hypnotic session.
Robert, just I've been investigating this topic, and there are companies out there that actually create your own virtual world if you want it, and you can use it. I mean, they're using it for business right now. The cost is pretty intense.
Oh yeah,
it's about 10 grand, to set up your own reality. And I think it's a month-to-month thing, but I mean, obviously for a business that is going to use it, and there's going to be some fees, and people are going to be charged for it.
That's an awful lot for a young technology, though.
Again, I mean, it sounds. I mean, I'm just investigating this part, but I mean, I've seen it, and actually, there is. I saw an ad about a fitness brand that's actually using it now.
Interesting.
So, yeah,
I mean, that's a really good idea. Like
it is. I was looking for it for that purpose, because we do have a fitness brand, and then
the fitness sphere is going to be
somebody did it. I mean, it is, but what it is, it does gives you a whole, like you're experiencing it, but not through a camera or a screen, you're really in there, immersed with the experience, and your set is really almost realistic. And so you're doing everything not in front of a mirror or in front of a camera or TV. This is like you get the whole
You actually
concept.
do it.
You feel the whole thing. So it is happening. It's just happening at a rapid rate. And I think in a couple of years, this is going to be it. I mean, we've seen it in movies, in sci-fi movies before, but
I think
it's happening.
not to go, I mean, I guess it's not off topic. I don't think VR is the future, because what's the disadvantage to VR? You're blind.
That's true.
I think what the real future is with that is AR, when we're talking about screening a reality over what's already there. Because now all of a sudden running into your desk isn't a problem, because you're still seeing what's actually there. You can just overmap something else on top of it. And how cool would that be to run around your own neighborhood playing Call of Duty? That sounds fun, personally.
Well, again, with artificial intelligence, with everything that's going on, I mean, that is not a fun. I think you're onto something there.
I don't even think it's far off.
It's not. I mean, it's really just hybriding these two concepts, and boom.
Look at Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go was like one of the, like, if not the first AR game in existence. It needed your phone camera so it can map over its own reality on top of what you were seeing. All you need is a set of glasses, and you can do that just fine.
Well, now somebody's watching this show and be like, damn, we're just going to do that now and make it real. And now we have our playground.
Yeah. Hit me up if you got that idea. I would love to talk about that.
Well, hey, listen, hit Robert up. But it's funny because this is where, I mean, the world is changing, and like you said, I mean, yes, you'll be blind in a way, but maybe the virtual reality is real time. That's the other thing. Like if you have cameras, for example, in your house, and it's replicating your house with
can
the
actually
whole
see your environment.
Exactly. I mean, there's ways you can integrate things. I mean, you can always think about innovative ways to do this, and those people that create these are very advanced in tech. And
that's more than I know how to handle.
Well, again, ideas are the key, and the rest is just somebody can manipulate the idea and make it work, and that's really what it is.
You just need the idea to start. Somebody else can be the expert.
Listen, you got to be the first. That's all. I always say that, right?
Exactly.
And maybe someone's like, "Oh, these guys are onto something. Let's talk to them."
Exactly.
But it's happening. It's gonna happen. And I think the only disadvantage, in addition to the fact that you're not seeing, is that people will get a little lazier, I think, because they would have to experience everything from the comfort seat and not really go out there in the real world. So they'll limit themselves to reality. And sometimes that could play on your mind, because you think your reality becomes, the reality becomes not real.
That's why I think AR would actually be healthier if we're talking about like human psychology, because at that point you do still see the real world. It's just you might have things laid out over it. You might have video screens floating off to the side that aren't actually there, but you're still seeing reality. You're still seeing other humans as they are, maybe with fancy things overlaid on top of them, but they're there. You can touch them. You can still, you're in reality.
Well, there's a new movie, this guy movie thing that's Ryan Reynolds. I think it's actually out there. Free Guy or something.
Oh yeah, Free Guy.
It's actually it's almost the same discussion that we're having right now. It's happening real in that movie. Listen, at the end of the day, it's phenomenal. It's exciting.
Oh, I can't wait. It's gonna be neat.
Well, just I know the concept, and for the metaverse, right? And I was invited to one of those community workshops on Facebook when they launched this. They talked about it, and what they stated. I mean, the technology, the way it is, you'll be immersed. Right now we have groups, right? People are sharing groups and sharing things, but now imagine you sharing it in a space. And you experience like space. You and I would be in the same room in that group, but literally like almost sitting across from each other on a table, and it will almost feel the real thing, but obviously it's not. You're in Arkansas and I'm in Jersey, right? But it would be like almost that kind of concept. But that's like really the next gen. I mean, that's
absolutely
cool stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And to me, it's inevitable. To me, that is the inevitable ends, or one of the ends of the internet, is eventually it becomes combined with virtual reality, and this desktop space becomes more integrated with real space. I mean, look at the way it's already gone. We started with just a computer, and now we carry that around in our pocket.
Well, the computer was a big room.
Computer used to be a real big room.
Yeah.
And soon the same thing we carry in our pocket, we'll just carry overlaid onto our vision. And
Well, that's actually I'm pretty sure that technology exists right now.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, there are defense system, companies and other military advancement, NASA and all these things. They do have technology that's usually 10, 15, 20 years before we even see
absolutely.
it. I mean, GPS is one of those, right?
Oh yeah,
and many, but that's just happening. It's real. But I can see the utilization of VR with you. For example, you mentioned it clearly. Imagine hypnosis where you don't have to close your eyes to really focus and see your world. You can create that, you said today we're going to go to this space and you can create that image for me. And I'm just literally enjoying it. And I mean right now, that picture behind me, right? Imagine if you were to put me in that,
actually,
that's where
that space,
that space. And I'm really seeing the waves and he almost even smelling. You can literally simulate some of these things, even smell.
I don't think you'd even need to. I think once you once you had enough visual input, your mind would start to actually generate the smell. Like, I don't think that would ever actually need to be a thing. As long as you made it visually immersive enough, your brain's going to fill in gaps naturally. And I think one of the things it would start to fill in would be smell.
Well, it's true. But it's funny because there is technology for that already. Like I worked in Disney about 30 years ago. And to date, if you walk in Main Street, USA, you'll smell candy and stuff. Yep. That is nobody's baking anything. That is just artificial.
It's just there. Yeah.
To make you, and you zone right in. That as soon as you walk in, you're going to that shop.
And then we're talking about hypnotic associations and that smell, because I use smell as my primary anchoring source. When we're talking about anchoring to calm or to focus, I use smell because it's our most powerful sense memory. So you can easily manipulate people with smell more than anything else. You make a shop smell like baking cookies or something like that, you will get people walking in there. That's just because we're naturally drawn to certain smells.
That's exactly what that story is about. It's actually it generates this smell from the gate. Yep. You'll smell it, and you'll find all the children and families with kids walking right into that store. That's first stop. Yep. And then they wind up at the employment on the way out. It's genius. Because
there's almost a universal association with that smell, with home, with childhood, with mother, with all of these safe, secure things. So many people, at least in this country, it might be different other places, associate that smell of baking cookies with the security of a protected childhood. And so it's one of the nastiest smells you could throw at someone if you're talking about marketing, because that goes right to the source. It speaks right to your inner child.
Well, I have to say, without a sense of smell, it's a problem.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, again, we talked about senses, right? We experience everything through senses. If you're missing a couple of senses, first of all, it enhances the others.
Yeah, that's the trip to me.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? And you can see it. Like I give you, I did have actually COVID, a few months back, and I lost my taste and smell for 10 days. Oof. And for those 10 days, you was like literally eating. You know what you're eating. You can differentiate between salt, bitter, and sweet, but you cannot have no flavor.
But that's about it. Yeah.
There is no flavor. So it's like, I know what this is supposed to taste like because I've had that experience before, but it's nothing like it. It's an amazing and bad experience at the same time. And,
well, it's strange how stuff like that tends to work. Like the way we associate, like, oh, this looks good, so I know it must be good. And I remember reading about experiments where people, they put a steak under a green light and had someone eat it. And it made them physically ill because they thought that the steak wasn't good. They said it tasted bad when it was the exact same as the steak they had just tried earlier, just under a green filter so that it looked gross. And that's it. So the way we perceive it is everything.
Perception is the key to everything, right?
Exactly.
It's how you, again, and that's actually being played every day in our world. In a lot of areas, you see those things.
Absolutely.
There have been a lot of experiments. One of the experiments that actually did happen, and you probably know about this, They took a bunch of civilians and they put them into this closed facility, and they gave half of them the like becoming inmates, and the other ones
the
were,
Stanford prison experiment. Yeah.
There you go. So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
And when you watch that, you know it's amazing how the mind works, right?
Mhm.
None of them have any authority. They're all the same people.
No, it's all
They're
assumed authority.
Yeah, and so automatically those that became the I guess the corrective force, they took it as serious as what they would be.
They
and
started
the other
abusing
ones,
their power, and
and the other ones became very, very inmate looking.
It's
and
weird.
But that's how it played. But it's funny. Go ahead. Sorry.
It has to do. There's really a lot to say with the Stanford prison experiments about your self-image, the way you view yourself, the way you assume your reality to be, because look at how swiftly it changed them, because their perception of reality had to change, and they immediately fulfilled this role. So if you can change roles that quickly, if you can go from Ivy League college student to inmate, or Ivy League college student to abusive prison guard within a week, what can you do positive? What can you make yourself based on that? If we're so plastic, if our simple assumption of self can change what we are, why not do that for the better? Like, it seems like it'd be easier.
Certainly would. So, well, it's funny. I experienced this real in person.
Mhm.
And so I've been in martial arts. And so in martial arts, we wear gis, right?
Mhm.
Uniforms. And believe it or not, when you're in the dojo with the uniform, your behavior changes.
Mhm.
You're literally in the role, and you become that character. Without the uniform, you almost feel like naked. You're not the same. You can, and that's why as you advance, you train without the uniform, like in a real situation, because your mind is now adjusted to the reality of things. You don't
need that
you don't need
association.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when and ranking also makes a difference. People by rank default, they actually act differently, right?
Yes.
And I've actually experienced it in a different world. So this is true story. There was a movie that I was in as an extra, and I ruined the scene. And the guy called me, the director called me. He's like, "Are you trying to act?" I was like, "No, sir. I was much younger." And I said, "No, sir. It was freezing. My lips were moving because it was too cold." And so I was literally reprimanded by the dude, right? And so I didn't. Again, I wasn't acting, but it was just like it was a cold. It looked like I was acting on camera, so he took away from the scene. So they removed that scene. And then I still stayed there. He said, "You have one warning. The next one, yeah." but so over the years, I tried to do an audition, and I went to an audition, and so they give me this line, and I did it. And the guy looked at me, he's like, "Wow, can you do it again?" I did it again. It was good. So he said, "What did you do?" I was like, "You were not acting." I was like, "No, you gave me a role to play."
Yeah.
I got into the role. He told me exactly what I needed to be, and I did it. And funny, because I didn't realize that, because throughout my career, I'm in sales and I do trainings and stuff, and we do role play all the time.
Mm-hmm.
When we do role play, we give a scenario and we act the scenario as is. And I do it in
assume
interview.
the role.
Yeah, in interviews, I do the same. So we sit down, and it's funny, on interviews, when a candidate comes in, I say, "Okay, now we're going to do, this is a real test. We are at an event, you're coming in, I'm a senior, let's talk. You need to approach me and let's discuss." And I give them a couple of frames of, things that they have to do, and we get to the acting, right? But it becomes real. And sometimes they don't get that, like, no, I don't want you to tell me what you're going to do. Let's do it. Let's
actually
act it up. Let's
do it. Yeah.
Do it with me. I'm your customer and this. So then I realized, like, that's the thing. You're not acting. You are really into it. You're just doing it. If I tell you right now, we're doing this.
Yeah.
And you're a doctor, and you're going to start really thinking as a doctor would do.
And that's a lot of what I tell people whenever they say, like, I want to be this. The first thing I'll say is, you have to, in your mind, already be that, already have done that thing. Because once that mindset, that state is there, it's just, you've already made the role. And now it's letting your reality assume around your role. And if that role is dressing differently, if that role is whatever it may be, like, I don't dress this fancy day-to-day life, but this is my role. Therefore, this is the appearance of that role. And I really encourage anyone that is looking to move past, to become better, to really look at little things, because the old you dressed this way. The old you behaved this way or spoke this way. So create a new image. And it's not being fake because it's still you, but it's a new version of you, someone who thinks like you want to think, someone that dresses like you want to dress. You become who you want to be, and you'll become who you want to be. And we've all heard that saying, fake it till you make it. It's true. Like you have to, before you can be something, you have to assume those things. And you're going to feel like you're a little kid wearing your father's suit for a little while whenever you step into a new role, until you realize eventually you get the subconscious associations that this is who I am.
Well, we have that, in leadership. There's a quote, very simple. It says, "When you're in charge, you lead. When you lead, you're in charge."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think that was General Patton or something like that. I think that's his quote, but if I'm not mistaken. But really, it is exactly what it is. You're in it. Now you have to behave as such. Even that is not something you rehearse. Now you're in charge. Do it. Make it happen. Wow. So listen, I mean, we didn't really, move away from the discussion, but I think this is all about the mind and how.
I mean, all kind of related to the same thing.
That's
all
right,
kind of
that's
the same.
Well, listen, I think it's that moment now where we get into the deep stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, I think I had a little anxiety, so I've been trying to push back. No, I'm just kidding.
That's fine.
I'm ready, dude. Let's do this.
Okay. So you don't need your mic. No need for that. So
move out.
You can move it out. So you don't consciously have it there. Just move it away. All right. And anyone listening right now, all you got to do is just follow along. Unless you're driving, then don't. Find a comfortable place, sit down, just relax, get comfortable, and you can follow along.
I just want to make a disclaimer about that. So, folks, this is a moment where we're going to go into a trance mode and hypnosis.
Yes.
If you want to be part of it, please do. If not,
Absolutely.
You can just, watch it without getting into, don't practice it with us, just in case.
Exactly.
And I think your advice, if you're driving, you do not want to be doing this.
Exactly.
All right, guys.
Awesome.
Here we go.
All right. So all I need you to do is just get comfortable for a moment. Put your feet flat on the ground. Just relax. Keep your hands in your lap and just lean back. Get comfortable. And for a moment, just focus on your breathing. Breathing in through your nose for a count of 4. Breathing out through your mouth for a count of 4. Making sure that each breath in lasts as long as the one before, and each breath out lasts as long as the one before that. And here in a moment, as you relax, focusing on your breathing, you may begin to notice a few changes begin to take place. First thing you may begin to notice is a tendency for your breathing to begin to deepen as the body begins to require more oxygen. This is normal and this is natural. And when you can notice this change, simply let me know by nodding your head as you relax and focus on your breathing. Good. The next change you may begin to notice is a tendency for the eyes to move around in small motions behind the eyelid. This is normal. And when you begin to notice this change, simply let me know by nodding your head. Good. Next thing you may begin to notice is a tendency for the mouth to get a little dry, perhaps to want to swallow. And if you need to, that's fine. And when you begin to notice this dryness of the mouth, let me know by nodding your head. Good. Now, in your mind's eye, I would like you to visualize, imagine, picture, pretend a stairwell. Perhaps it's a stairwell you remember, or perhaps it's one you just made up, but it's well lit with 20 steps going down. We're going to walk down these steps one at a time. And each step we take down will allow yourself to become more relaxed, starting now at 20, down to 19, 18, 17, down to 16, 15, 14, 13, down to 12, down to 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Deep sleep. Each and every time I say the words to you, deep sleep, for the purposes of hypnosis, and with your permission, you'll return to this state or even deeper. The physical body will relax. Good. Now, in that same way that you visualized or imagined that stairwell, imagine now a chalkboard. Allow yourself to see that dusty chalkboard, perhaps to smell that familiar smell of chalk in the air, perhaps tasting the grittiness in the back of your throat. But see on this chalkboard an array of colored chalk. And I would like you to pick a color, any color at all. And I wonder what color it is that you're now going to draw a letter or number 10 on the chalkboard in whatever color you choose. And when you have drawn the number 10, simply wipe it away and allow yourself to go twice as deep into trance. And now, choosing a new color, different than before, draw now the number 9. Drawing the number 9, wiping it away, and going twice as deep. And now a new color, drawing the number 8, and wiping it away, and going twice as deep. And now the number 7, the new color, and wiping it away. The new color, and 6, and wiping it away. And 5, and 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Deep sleep. Each and every time I say the words to you, deep sleep, for the purposes of hypnosis, with your permission, you will return to this state or even deeper, and the physical body will relax. Good. Now, floating in this state, your physical body relax, your mind drifting, forming new thoughts. Allow yourself to form a vision of where you want to be in 5 years, perhaps 6, maybe even 7 years. Allow yourself to form a vision of that person in front of you. Take a moment to form that image. See how confident that person is, how much good they have done, the way they hold themselves, the energy around them, the confidence. And know that each day brings you closer to this man, and that each day is a new opportunity to become closer and closer to this greatness. That each day brings us chances to be good, to be kind, to be successful. And that each day you'll seize those opportunities. Now, as you relax, I would like you to visualize or pretend a white ball of healing light coming down from the ceiling. A white ball coming down over your brow, relaxing and releasing any tension with this white, cooling, healing light. As it moves down over your brow to your jaw, relaxing and releasing, moving down to your shoulders, to your arms, letting go of any tension as it moves down to your biceps, your elbow, your forearms, and your hands. This white energy gathering in your hands as you take a deep cleansing breath in and release, letting go of that energy and any tension that you hold as this light continues to move down your back and your stomach to your hips, relaxing and releasing any tension. As it moves down to your thighs, your knees, your calves, into your feet. As you take one more deep cleansing breath in and letting it out as you release the last of this energy out of your feet back into the earth, letting only calm and relaxation remain. Here in a moment, I'm going to count you up and out of hypnosis. But before I do, remember to take with you a deep sense of well-being, of motivation that grows each day, and that each thought you have upon waking in the morning is positive and encouraging to yourself and those around you. And now counting from 0 up to 5, and at 5 returning to a wakeful state of awareness. At 0, there's always the tendency to go a little deeper. At 1, we're closing the door to the subconscious mind, taking with us all the things we've learned. At 2, taking a deep breath in and letting it out. At 3, as you become more aware of the thoughts coming into your mind. 4, more aware of the physical world around you. And 5, eyes open, wide awake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake.
Ooh, I need a minute.
Absolutely. Take a moment, come back in. Anyone listening who was playing along, just breathe. Take a moment to come back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake. Just breathe, let yourself come back.
Wow, I was so relaxed. It wasn't funny. Dude, I mean, this is good. I'm gonna need you every day.
Yeah, it is.
Woo!
It's amazing, its
Oh,
capacity to
man.
relax. And I'm one of those people that stays really high strung. But even me, hypnosis just relaxes me completely. It's the most amazing thing.
It's like literally you visualize it, each and every one of those things, and you just,
Mhm.
I know that guy 5 years from now, and know exactly what they look like, and
Mhm.
where, and I love the positivity. So hey,
Yep.
it's really solid stuff.
That's one of the things I really try to give people is, and that's one of the things that was done for me that was really so impactful for me is seeing that you in the future, that everything you're working on right now that you want to be, seeing that successful, that adds that assumption into your mind. How we talk about that fake it until you make it. Well, now that you've seen this man or this woman, if you were following along, uh it's your subconscious now knows, and there's a validation to, oh, this is the end result of my work, so of course I succeed because I've seen it. And for me personally, because the first time I legitimately went under trance, that's what I was shown was me in the future as I was working on. And there's not really a day that goes by that I don't think about the person that I saw, and am I on the right track to be that man. And I found that having that image, having that goalpost has done so much to keeping me on track, to keeping my head in the game, so to speak, because I've seen the results, I've seen the end results, and it's worth the patience, it's worth the struggle. And I love to be able to give that to people.
Well, I know for a fact right now, I'm conditioned to those, and I always believe in that guy, but now
Oh,
I
yeah.
got a better and clearer vision for it. And you know what? It really it's aligned to where how I operate in general. Like, I do
Mhm.
set those goals and I know what I want to be in a particular time. But what what I was feeling. I mean, first of all, just for the audiences, I literally was, I'm hearing everything, but I was like so tired. I mean,
Mhm.
I felt like so tired. I felt like literally just out. I
Awake.
mean,
Yeah.
awake, but my body was really just like down. I mean, it was just
Under
like,
a weight, almost like it's heavy. And yeah,
yeah,
it's interesting.
super, super. I was just like, uh, and I can visualize each and every one of those things, and
But you see what I mean now about how it being the same as those moments at waking, when you're just laying in bed and you're relaxed, that same heavy drifting. And I encourage anyone in those moments in the morning when you do feel that heavy, that drifting, and your thoughts just going, recognize that you are in hypnosis and take that opportunity to encourage yourself, to give yourself positive reinforcement, to tell yourself that your day is going to kick ass, to tell yourself that even if bad things happen, it doesn't matter. And you will notice a distinct difference in the ways your days go, because we're conditioned to notice what we want to notice. It's called the reticular activating system. It's how we filter people, places, and things. And if all you want to see is the bad, your subconscious has got you. It'll only show you the bad. But if your subconscious, if your reticular activating system is keyed to see the good, to see what that brings you closer to that future that you want, the bad doesn't matter. Just like in the same way that, like, when you're depressed or anything like that, the good doesn't matter, because you don't see that. That's not part of what your subconscious is taking in. And that was really a big part of my personal change, is I started to realize that, yeah, everything is shit because you assume everything is, because that's your worldview. That's all you see. And the moment I did something about that, that I changed the way I saw things, I it's fascinating how different everything looks and feels. And I I can't tell you the last time I woke up in the morning in a bad mood or depressed or anything like that. Every morning when I wake up now, I'm excited. I'm happy to be awake. I'm happy to have another opportunity to do the work I found that I love. And I wish everyone could find that. And I encourage everyone to do everything they can to find that, because it's worth it. It's worth the work, it's worth the trouble, it's worth the expense, just to be able to wake up in the morning and not have to force yourself to say those positive things, but to wake up. And I find myself smiling to myself when I make my morning coffee, because I'm I'm happy to be having that experience. I'm enjoying things. And that never happened before. It didn't matter. I was just miserable, just seeing the bad, not taking. We hear that saying all the time, stop and smell the roses. It's kind of true. Like, stop, take a moment to appreciate things, take a moment to smell the coffee in the morning, to appreciate the process of making it. Uh I drink tea in the morning, so it's one of those. I make sure that every step of that is part of that process. Everyone needs to remember, humans are creatures of ritual, creatures of habit. And if your morning ritual is a positive thing, if for example you're gaining pleasure from smelling the coffee, from going through the process, it's association. becomes a positive charge, that your morning has this sensory input that becomes associated with waking up, that's a pleasurable thing. And once you begin to associate that with all of the smells and sounds of that process and it being a positive thing, that anchor to positivity carries you through your day. And it's something as simple as your morning coffee or tea or whatever have you. But by making that a positive affirmation, a positive ritual, you've enhanced your day automatically from the get-go. And again, the opposite is true. If you dread your morning coffee, if the smell of coffee pisses you off because it means you have to go to work again, guess what? You're drinking a big old cup of your own bullshit, and you are going to take that with you for the rest of your day, when you could have changed everything just with that one simple thing, just by making a pleasant sensual ritual out of this basic thing that you're going to do every day anyway. So why not make that a good thing?
Robert, I have to say, I took a little minute because I'm still kind of groggy up. I'm
That's
still
expected.
I'm still kind of like, winding up here. Like
that's why I took the moment to talk, because I figured you needed a minute.
my energy was literally, I was so mellow. It's not even funny. I'm literally like feels like a morning, like where you just kind of stretch. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed, but maybe people have noticed this, but like I was really hyper and I'm just like so calm and collected right now. It's not funny, but it's good. Yeah. It's a good feeling. I'm like high.
Yeah, no, it's very similar. It's people that smoke a lot of weed will comment about how this is kind of like being high. I'm like, maybe it's because they're the same thing. Smoking a lot of weed puts you in the theta state an awful lot. If you are sitting there staring at a wall for 45 minutes, you are in hypnosis. That is not a normal expression of the normal brainwave pattern. You are tranced out and you are staring at a wall. So yeah, it feels similar.
And again, this is no joke, guys. It's not rehearsed. This is real. It's real. We didn't practice this. This is actually
happening. On the fly.
It's happening in real time, and we're from literally, a few states over and a few hours flights and a time difference. So, but
it doesn't take much.
It doesn't. And by the way, first of all, thank you, Robert.
You're welcome.
For being on the show and for doing this, but also like the words that you've just, described and covered right now are so powerful, because you're right. People wake up in the morning not happy. Mm-hmm. And therefore everything that happens after that is going to be a reaction and probably will impact other people. Because if, let's say I'm the boss of a place, or I run a department, or I work at a store, it's either I'm going to take it on my client, or I'm going to take it on my employees, or my even superiors, whatever the case may be.
Somebody's going to get it.
Yeah. Exactly. You're driving, you're road rage now, when you're not happy, you're excited about everything. It's just not a good place. And you said
that same thing could be done with the positive.
That's right.
Same infection, that same spreading of your mental state can be done with the positive. It's a little harder to do with the positive because it's way easier to be pissed off at first, at least, which to me at this point, it's harder for me to be angry because my brain doesn't naturally go there anymore. I used to be very angry, very quick to anger. And now it feels toxic to me. I avoid things that make me angry in situations that upset me, because why? That's no good. You don't need to feel that. There's no point in being angry. That's not productive. And sometimes it is. But in your general day-to-day life, if anger is your source of productivity,
we need to work.
We need to talk. Yeah.
I had to say, this happened today. Literally, I was just browsing through my head and doing some stuff, and always like thinking about how to behave differently and some posts and things. And something just came, with me. I was thinking about time and the value of time, and how sometimes people don't take your time as value. They don't realize how much it takes for your hour. If this takes time from you and your expertise to do this, right? And as I was doing that, also I started thinking about all the different, reactions that people have. And I made a commitment, and I hope I will hold on to it. And the commitment was basically to be a thank you person. Yeah. You curse me, I'm gonna say thank you. I don't care.
Show gratitude.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Even if you do something bad, I can get very excited easily too. Yeah. And I mean, my trainings in the martial arts does give you a little bit of coolness and you can control, but sometimes I get a little hard-headed and stuff.
Yeah, we all do.
But today I made that argument with myself. I was like, what does it matter? I don't care.
Yeah,
You can you curse all you want. I don't care.
You have a
I'm
choice.
good.
Everything you do, you have a choice. Everything. You have a choice. If somebody calls you an asshole, you have a choice. You have a choice to call them an asshole back and possibly ruin both your days. Or you have your choice of going, cool, thanks, see you around.
Well, I know I'm not. So, hey, guess what? I'm cool.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Like,
We appreciate that.
And it all has to do with the power that you give others. And I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt said that no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. That's
true.
It's absolutely true.
Anger, everything. You make that consent.
You calling me an asshole, you saying infuriating things to me, my reaction is what I choose. And my gut reaction doesn't have to be my reaction, because that's part of emotional maturity, of emotional intelligence, is assessing your gut reaction, of thinking of maybe not going with that initial impulse to punch that dude in the face, of taking a moment to breathe and being like, hey man, you okay? Because I've personally noticed that takes people by a back. If they're being a dick to you, if they're being aggressive, just ask them gently, are you all right, man? Is everything okay? And I've literally had situations go from this dude wanted to fight me to, no man, I'm not okay. I'm not fucking okay. And that was it. And all it took was somebody not taking the bait and just asking another human being, man, what's bothering you? Like, we don't act like this naturally. The natural human state isn't to pick fights with strangers. And there was something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it was obvious that there was something wrong, that he was just trying to vent whatever it was inside of him. And no one had ever asked him, I think, what's up? Dude, what's bothering you? And there was shock in that.
Robert, it's funny you said that, because I think a couple of weeks ago we had a live show with Dr. Krishnheim. He's one of, again, the psychiatrist that comes on the channel once a month. And one of the questions, we're talking about the holidays and how sometimes people disagree and stuff. And it's almost exactly what you said, because what he said is, you can tell someone, I don't agree with you, but I do love you, man. Mm-hmm. And when you think about that, how deep that is, when you tell someone that, your chemicals react differently. Yeah. And so the person is not seeing aggression. They know that you still love them. It's just that you don't disagree. And that's exactly what it is. Someone is excited, like, dude, I'm cool. I don't want to do this. Now, ultimately, if it's life-threatening, whatever, we're not going to say, just put your head down, as an ostrich, you're going to do whatever it takes. Yeah. But certainly you can diffuse anything. It's still up to you to make that call. And it's a rule in martial arts. There's no winner at the end of a fight.
Exactly. If violence has happened, everyone's lost. Exactly. And I encourage everyone, if they haven't already, to read Sun Tzu, to read The Art of War, because you might realize some things that you wouldn't think about, because it's not a book on how to fight. It's a book on how to avoid fighting. Because as he says in the book, if there are soldiers with weapons on their hand in the field, you have lost. You have already lost the war. That true victory comes from never having to raise your hand, never having to raise your voice. True victory is diplomacy, because no one dies. And that's kind of the goal. And that really has stuck with me, that true victory is not the conflict. True victory is the avoidance of conflict, because any idiot can get into a fight, but not every idiot can completely avoid the fight to begin with and still come out on top, and let both people come out on top. Because you get in a fight, doesn't matter. Even if you just mop the floor with that person, there's still the guilt. It doesn't matter who you are. Unless you are just a depraved sociopath, harming another human being hurts you. It doesn't matter what else is involved. Causing another human pain has a psychological impact on you. And there's no need for that. Not when you just could have not just done something different. And don't get me wrong, there's times where that's the only solution. And peace is not always the only option. You absolutely should defend yourself at times. But you really need to ask yourself that question. Is this the battle to pick? And
right.
can you change the course of this battle? Because like I said, I've had people go from wanting to fight me to just talking about their problem and why they're angry. And we both came out better for it. I didn't have to get into a fight. He didn't get in a fight with a stranger, and he got to talk about what was bothering him. He went home uninjured, slept in his own bed, and got hopefully a little resolution.
Wow.
That's it.
And that's power. That's
Yeah.
really power. I mean, that's a whole different world of I guess knowing yourself,
Mhm.
controlling yourself. It's a different level of being. and
Exactly.
and that's ultimately what we all want to be. I mean, to your point, I don't think people wake up in the morning, I'm going to go and fight everybody, you know.
No.
So circumstances, and that's really what you've talked about in terms of today's session, is the concept of wake up positive.
Mhm.
Look at that guy in the 5 years from now, you know, keep yourself in a positive mode, wake
Know
up
who
happy.
you want to be and how to get there.
That's right. And be happy.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal, because again, if you're happy, I mean, it's funny because when you laugh, it's contagious.
Absolutely.
It's as bad as bad as a rapid contagion. I mean, that thing is so, you start laughing, people don't even know you're laughing. Everybody's gonna start laughing, right?
Walk into a room of angry people and smile. Like,
yeah, they're gonna look at you like,
and they're gonna
you gotta
change
start
the mood of
changing
the room. Yeah.
Yeah, and those experiments have been done. So the fact is, it's very different when you do that, and I
Mhm.
think that's something we want to encourage people to be part, you know, to do. And
Absolutely.
listen, I think today's session was about that.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
know we're on Friday, and we're
Oh, it is
coming to
Friday.
the end of the hour here, but I think it was an excellent, you know, opportunity
Absolutely.
to experience this, also to share it live with people so they can even
they can
experience
see.
it with us.
Yeah.
And this is recorded and people are going to watch it over and over. So I think people can do this on their own and follow exactly like how
Oh,
I
yeah.
did. And they'll just have the same experience themselves.
Oh yeah, if you're listening to this pre-recorded, you can rewind it and just follow along with that same thing, and it will be the same experience. So
That's
yeah,
right.
absolutely. You record this, use it as much as you need to. It's if that's what you need, if you need my voice to be able to put you in that spot, use it. If you can't meditate on your own, if you can't self-hypnotize on your own, feel free to use that recording to get there, to get into that relaxed state. That's perfectly fine.
And Robert, we want to highlight something that if you want to do beyond that, we want them to reach out to you
Oh, absolutely.
and do this. And you have courses, you have different sessions, you
Yes.
help people really get into this in a deeper mode and in the long
Absolutely.
term. And look, you can change people's lives. You
Absolutely.
can
And
change your
I
life and
have.
turn it to the best. Yep.
And like you said, I do one-on-one. I lecture. I teach class series, whatever.
That's
So
all right.
whatever your needs may be, you can find me at my website. It's twinravens.org. You can email directly at jparker@twinravens.org. And really, that's the best way. My company is called Twin Ravens Hypnotherapy and Research. We're currently in the process of getting all of our extensive paperwork filed to be able to do government granted research on hypnosis and its varying aspects.
Sweet.
But yeah, anyone that has questions, anyone that wants to speak to me about working with me, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm pretty quick to get back generally, and I love answering questions and educating people about what it is I do.
Well, listen, Robert, thank you so much for the time. It's again, last show was awesome. This was just, you know, better than awesome. I think this was a notch over, you know, because now we went into like the real thing and
Actually
demonstrated
showed what it was. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, people talk about it, and you know, the skeptics are, you know, no more, right?
Yeah.
And just as a disclaimer, I used to be a skeptical person when it came
I used to.
hypnosis, and I experienced it twice, and then after that point, and I've you know observed hypnosis sessions, and I've you know seen it in real action, And I've also literally reaped the fruits of the hypnosis, and I know they work.
Absolutely.
And so of course you have to allow yourself to do it. Again, if you reject it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's safe. So that's the other part, because we've talked about that a lot. Don't watch movies, and specifically,
Exactly. Absolutely.
Don't think that that's exactly movies are movies, right? So they have their own fun, and it's all cool. But really, the real thing is this, and
Exactly.
Use it to the positive and full positive, and your life will be positive. And I think that's it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me on, man. It was nice being back.
Thank you. And you and I will stay in touch. So we have more things to talk about. So folks, thank you for watching and listening. And I hope you enjoyed this session, and check out Robert's site, and it's going to be on the description of the show. So we'll talk soon. New show, new guest, new topic. Bye for now.
See you around.
Bye-bye.